If you're anything like me, you spent thousands of dollars on chickens and their coop and their feed. Also, you could save a few dollars on eggs, right? I mean, yeah, that's why we got into this. You know I'm right. But I wanted to talk to you about feed today, because if our hens aren't laying, then we spend thousands of dollars just to have to go buy eggs at the grocery store, and like that would be crazy. So this is what we're currently feeding our flock right now. Now we have a mixed flock, so we have a combination of laying hens, non-laying hens, pretty young chicks, and roosters. So we have a variety of feeding needs. We feed this all flock to our youngest chicks. Our youngest chicks are actually in a chick coop back there, so they are in a separate area that's contained but still within the chicken run, so that they can be more easily integrated with everybody else. And I do definitely recommend you do that anytime you're integrating chicks into your flock, to have them in something like that, even if it's like a dog crate, but somewhere where they can see each other through a fence line and not access each other. But so we have our youngest chicks in there, and we are feeding them all flock. If you give them a layer feed, it's too much calcium for them, and it can actually be detrimental to their organs as they're developing, so they don't need a layer feed. So we feed an all flock whenever we can to our chicks. Another thing that we occasionally give are these scratch grains. This is not the base of their nutrition. It's really only a very limited amount, so we might only just throw a few handfuls in there every few days or so. It kind of just mimics that natural pecking and scratching that they would do. We do free range our chickens when we can, but we don't like to do it if they're unsupervised. So if there's a period of time where we can't let them out, then we will throw some in there and just kind of give them some entertainment or something to do. It's not really, got a lot of nutrition, but it does help with that stimulation of pecking and foraging and all that. In the winter, we will mix it into their food a bit more because it does heat them up from the inside. So in the winter, we might mix it into their feed just to encourage a little bit more internal heat. But again, not a ton. It's not like the base of their nutrition. This is what we are currently feeding our laying hens. So this is the 19% layer pellets. This particular one has black fly soldier larvae in it, which is what makes it have a higher protein level in it. So we have actually been really liking this brand. We've noticed that we are seeing harder eggshells and darker colored yolks. So their yolks are more like a deeper orange than a lighter yellow, which is always kind of what you want to go for. Usually a darker egg color means that they're getting more protein from insects and stuff like that. So I think maybe that's why we are seeing an increase in their like egg color, but so yeah, we have been liking this food, and if you want to try it out, maybe you can try it out and see if it makes your hens lay more. I know a lot of other popular brands are Nutrient and Kalmbach. Our farm store didn't have that, so we went ahead and tried this one, and we've been liking it, so we continued getting it. We do switch brands with our chickens whenever we feel like we need to. We're not as sensitive about changing feeds with our chickens as we would be with our goats. With goats, you have to change up their feed very slowly and give their room and time to adjust with it. But with our chickens, we don't really have to make as gradual of a change. We find that they do just fine, kind of just switching up their food, and they don't really have any negative, what's the word I'm looking for? Or anything like that. So we do try different brands pretty often to see what we like for us, what we see better results with. And right now we're seeing pretty good results from this, which I'm happy about. Another thing is oyster shell. That's not something that you mix in their food. It is just straight up calcium. So for your laying hens, they will self-regulate. And if they're not getting enough for their body's needs in their layer feed, then they will go to the oyster shell, which is left out like in a bowl, separate, free choice, and they will take what they need. Or if you have a mixed flock and you continue feeding something like a mixed flock instead of a layer feed, definitely have out your oyster shell for them to get whenever they need it. It's going to make a big difference in their eggshell quality. Another thing is that with this food, we are also noticing the eggs themselves being bigger. So I don't know if that's necessarily because of the food, but I will say that we changed to this food and we are seeing bigger eggs in general. So do with that what you will. Another thing that I don't have here is black fly soldier larvae and mealworms. Those are great as a treat option. Again, it's not a base food, but they are a super fantastic treat for them. They're high in protein and calcium. Black fly soldier larvae have more protein and calcium in them than mealworms do. So if you're looking for like the biggest boost in nutrition, then I recommend those. They are a little bit more expensive typically, but they are more densely nutrient packed. And I love giving those for whenever they are molting or their feathers seem a little bit thin for whatever reason, or even their eggshells or their egg production is down. Those are a great treat that they love, and they really do genuinely like help out with production and feather quality and eggshell quality. So those are some of the things that we do to feed our chickens to like boost their production and all that, and just make sure that they are giving us, you know, our money's worth. We spent a lot of money on these guys and we're gonna get our eggs, right? But I also wanted to show you the difference in egg quality. I know, I'm sorry, these aren't like the cleanest eggs in the entire world. It like rained yesterday, so. But I want you to look at these two eggs here. These eggs both have spots on them, but not in the same way. So this is a speckled egg. You see how the coloring of it is speckled? And then if you look at this egg, it's porous. The coloring is not supposed to be speckled. It is a porous egg. And I want you to listen to the difference when I tap on these shells, because you will hear the difference in a thin eggshell. And that's why you can see how porous this one is, because it is a very thin shell and this is a thick shell. So I'm gonna like hold it up here and just listen to the difference when you tap on it. You hear how thin that one is and this one? So I don't know if you could hear the difference, but listen. You hear how it's just so much more hollow? So that's one way you can tell if your hens maybe need a little bit more calcium, either in the form of mealworms or extra oyster shell or anything like that. Now, not everybody is gonna have the same needs. So you are gonna have some that have really thick eggshells and some that will just always be thin. So that's something to monitor, is just your flock overall, your egg quality, your egg production, and make adjustments as needed. Another thing we like to do is sometimes we will actually cook up these eggs and mix the eggshells right in with it and give them that as a treat. So literally just feeding their own eggs back to them. So I'll do that whenever I feel like they need a boost, or if I just feel like, you know, cooking up 100 eggs because now I have way too many eggs and I don't know what to do with them. So I just go ahead and cook them up, mix in the eggs and throw them back in there. Another thing is red like chili flakes, like red hot pepper, like the hot pepper chili flakes, you know what I mean? Chickens cannot sense or taste heat, but they are actually a fantastic dewormer or worm preventative. It's not going to necessarily deworm them completely if they have like a heavy worm load, but it is a natural preventative for worms. So that's something that a lot of people do, is just dump a whole bunch of like chili flakes in their feed, and they can't taste the heat, but it really does help a lot with the worm load. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And if you have any suggestions on what you feed and what you have found really good results from, let me know. This is what we're doing right now, but like I said, we are always improving, always looking to, you know, see better results or what the best option is out there. It's frustrating that we can't always get what we want at our farm store, but if there's something that we know works long term, I wouldn't be opposed to just like ordering a whole bunch of it and always having it on hand. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you do for your flock and what kind of results you're seeing. And don't forget to subscribe so you can keep hanging out with us. We definitely appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here. Bye.